Welcome back, guys. Thanks for checking out another video. Mark brought his Acura Integra track car in for a tune today. It put down some great numbers and I thought I would do a video for you guys. 1996 Acura Integra. This is a track car build. It has a full cage, big brakes. It is a dedicated track build. Wing, diffuser. It's got a carbon hatch. It's got Lexan windows, removable door. It's over here. It was kind of cool dynoing without a door today. Made it really easy to line it up on the dyno. Super cool build, and it put down some great numbers. This is a Frankenstein K24 K20 build. So like usual, I will list off all the details of this build, and whatever I miss, I usually try to put in this video description for you guys. So we'll start with the bolt-ons and I'll get to the engine in a second. So 3-inch custom cold air intake. You can actually see gets air from down here. Intake temps were nice and consistent all day. K-tuned 72mm cable throttle body. Port matched RBC intake manifold. The cool thing about this one is he did cut the RBC intake manifold and cut off the coolant housing, which normally would be right here, which is integrated into the intake manifold. Because that portion of the intake manifold has coolant normally running through it, it actually heat soaks the intake manifold. So this is a great upgrade to make intake air temps more consistent, especially on cylinder number 4, which seriously gets affected by the hot coolant that would normally run through there. Continuing on, RDX Injectors. It does have a PLM Big Tune Header to a custom 3-inch exhaust that exits out the side here, which is extremely loud. This was a super loud car. It does have a resonator, actually 2 resonators, but it was crazy loud today. As for the engine, this is the go-to swap. It is a JDM K24 stock bottom end. It does have a 4-piston ported oil pump in it. It does have a Unit 2 oil pan on it. And but otherwise, the block is completely stock JDM K24. As for the head, it has a 8th gen Civic Si, so the K20 Z3 cylinder head with the 50-degree VTC wheel, and it does have the 8th gen Civic Si K20 Z3 stock cams. Internally, all OEM components, nothing aftermarket, no upgraded cams, and this setup put down some great numbers. So why don't I cut to some shots of the dyno pulls, and then I'll share the final results with you. guys, hopefully you enjoyed those dyno pulls. One thing I forgot to mention before was this does have a very unique transmission. It has the gear set, a 6-speed gear set from a JDM DC5 Type R, RDX Integra, whatever you want to call it, along with a very short final drive. It has a 5.46 final drive, which made tuning interesting, and I'm going to get into that in a second. And it also has an OS Geiken diff in it. So normally I tune these cars in 4th gear. I did most of the dyno tuning in 4th gear, but I also did a pull in 5th gear to see how it would go, because the sweet spot would technically be right in between 4th and 5th for tuning this car. But anyways, let's show you the results of both. All right guys, like I said, this thing put down some great numbers today. In blue is the dyno pull in 4th gear. It put down 249 and 205 foot-pounds torque. And like I said, I did dyno pulls in 4th and 5th, and 4th was actually a bit short for doing nice dyno pulls, so we did a few pulls in 5th to check the tune, and it actually made a little bit more power in 5th. In 5th, it put down 253 horse, 207 foot-pounds torque. The tune was exactly the same for both 4th and 5th gears. Great results today. 253 horse, 207 foot-pounds torque in 5th gear on this setup. This car is super light. It's a fun track toy. It should be crazy on the track this year. Previous years, he had a K20 in it, and he thought it was pretty quick, and I can't wait to hear how it feels with the new K24 power. So, all right guys, because I always get asked about comparisons and stuff like this, so I thought I would bring up one more dyno plot on the graph here. In blue is an internally stock JDM K24 with the stock K24 head and only the 25-degree VTC cam gear wheel. This JDM K24 put down 235 wheel horse, 182 foot-pounds torque. It probably could have benefited from the 50-degree VTC so we could get a bit more mid-range power out of it. One thing I wanted to confirm was if the gear ratios, like the final drive, really affected the power output, because this is a super powerful setup, but in my opinion, it's making what it should make with this setup. I think I have a good way of showing that the gear set didn't manipulate the power graph of this dyno tune. Because the blue dyno graph is using a conventional RSX transmission tuned in 4th gear, the red is today's car with the shorter final drive but tuned in 5th gear. And on the bottom I have the scale set to RPM. And I'm going to switch it to mile per hour or speed so you can see that technically the gear ratios that I use in 5th, not even as short as the 4th gear ratios on this blue dyno graph. All right, here we go. So graph switch to speed. You can see that the blue graph is shorter because it tops out at a lower speed, where the red graph is a longer gear ratio, even with the shorter final drive, because it carries much more speed. I feel like if I didn't address this, I'd get a whole bunch of questions about did the final drive or the different gear ratio really affect the dyno graph numbers today? And in my opinion, it didn't, but I don't like to try to argue with the internet. But anyways, that's about it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And like always, if you like the video, do me a favor, hit like. If you haven't already, consider subscribing, and I will continue to keep making these videos for you guys. Thanks again, and I'll see you again soon. Bye now.